Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market preparation video for April 4th, 2018. Well, what a nasty reversal overnight. You know, I've mentioned before how challenging political uncertainty can be, and that political uncertainty really is coming into focus this morning. Yesterday we rallied 389 points on the Dow. 389 points. But that is going to be completely reversed this morning, really based on threats between the U.S. and China. Nothing has actually happened, just threatening back and forth. The potential of tariffs, and our president, sends out a tweet, and we get this unbelievable reversal in the market because China responds. And so we're just in this really, and I'm not blaming one side or the other for this. In fact, I'm not even going to weigh in with an opinion of what's right or wrong because, to be honest, I don't know. But what we're experiencing here as traders is this massive volatility and the uncertainty that's created during this political turmoil. And we've seen this before in the market. And one of the things we want to do as a trader is we want to maintain an edge in our trading. We want to believe that our technical analysis has the ability for us to hold on to that edge. But during times of political uncertainty, that basis of truth just really gets tossed out the window. Normally, we can look at a chart and study the price action, and those that are adept at doing that have a distinct advantage in the market. But when we reach a point of political uncertainty such as this, we get into a place where there's just nothing that you can really do to maintain an edge in the market. In fact, it's a little bit like trying to rope the wind. It keeps you really busy. You might look cool trying to do it, but at the end of the day, we have no way of knowing how quickly or how much a market can shift or change just based on a tweet or a news report. And that's what we're experiencing this morning with this massive gap down. As I record this, we're down 440 points in the Dow. We've been down as much as 600 points in the Dow. So here again, we're shifting back and forth very, very quickly as this story develops. Now, who knows where this is actually going to go? And and trying to predict the mind of a political body is pretty much an exercise in futility. So be really careful if you're trading this market. I know if you're caught long, this is going to probably be a very painful morning. Try not to panic and realize that the market could again shift just as quickly on the next news report. But at the same time, you do have to protect your capital, and if it looks like it's going to get worse, make sure you're protecting yourself. I hate to see people lose money, and in a market like this, it's bound to happen because of that extreme whip that can happen. So be very, very careful. If you're thinking short, be really careful about chasing this short, because if we take a look at a weekly chart, remember yesterday I kind of suggested the potential that the Dow could test this 50-day moving average, and now with this gap down, it seems even more likely that could occur. That means that we could move substantially lower still to test that 50 weekly. So kind of keep that in mind. We could also see a violent shift back up if there's something that comes out that kind of changes the expectation of this potential trade war. So keep an eye on the market and just be really careful. Protect yourself. It's hard to really define, what to do in a market like this. It's about impossible to do that because of the violence of these potential moves. So if you're inexperienced as a trader, if you are finding yourself being overly beat up in this market, it may be time to stand aside, let this market settle out, let things work out. And I've said that before. Don't try to fight a market that is obviously got way more power than we do as an individual trader to really hurt us. So wait until that advantage returns in your favor and we actually begin to settle down and establish a reasonable trend without this uncertainty cropping up. So this morning, we're going to see some sharply lower lows this morning. There's the diamonds. Let's take a quick look at the spiders. Spiders, once again, will be failing the 50-day move or the 200-day moving average at the open. And if we look at the weekly, we'll be very, very close to the weekly 50 moving average again. So big moves in the market today. The Nasdaq, or the Qs moving sharply lower here. They're already under pressure with the techs being sold off so heavily. I think there's a very good chance this 200-day moving average could be tested here on the daily. If we take a look at the weekly here, you can see that could even translate into a move all the way down to that weekly 50-day moving average. IWM can be particularly sensitive to moves like this. The small caps tend to be sharply punished in markets like this. So the volatility here could be extreme as well. And you can see we're gapping down, reversing yesterday's move and coming right back down here toward that 200-day moving average for a test. And then once again, if we look at that weekly, we are very, very close to having a retest of that 50-day weekly average. So keep that in mind as you plan your day forward. If we take a look at the VIX, we can expect the VIX, where we've been in this choppy environment, chopping sideways, holding support, by the way. Let me point that out. We've been holding this support level. Now this morning, that's likely to gap up sharply, and that's going to make it very, very challenging for a lot of traders. For option traders, this can be substantially dangerous because we're going to see the implied volatility of those options spike. If you're short right now, congratulations, you're going to see a nice bump. If you're not short, if you picked up long positions yesterday, you're going to see some pretty brutal morning, most likely. And the last thing you want to do is panic, because that implied volatility is going to spike, and hopefully cooler heads will prevail, and that will begin to diminish as the day goes on. So kind of look at that. If we take a look at T21, T21-22, the 4-week new high, new low ratio, I don't know that we can really get a whole lot out of this today with a 500-point move. But my guess is what we're going to do is we'll spike right back down into this bullish reversal zone with this sharp move down. And just keep in mind that we can stay down here, and just because we're down in this range doesn't mean we can't move lower. We can, but this is the kind of area where we want to watch for cooler heads to prevail and possibly another reversal back up. So watch for that whip. It could be really, really violent and very, very challenging today. So plan accordingly how you want to deal with that kind of risk in the market. On the economic calendar today, we have a few market moving reports. We have that ADP report out first this morning at 8:15, and that report is going to tell us, give us kind of a guess. And right now they're expecting that to actually weaken just a little bit. We'll have to wait and see how that that comes out. Remember, that employment situation reports on Friday, and typically we have a market that just kind of chops around while we wait for that employment situation report. Obviously, this morning with all the political uncertainty, that's a different scenario. We have factory orders at 10 o'clock, as well as ISM manufacturing index. Both of those are expected to remain strong. And then we have the petroleum status report, which is not forecast forward, but obviously can dramatically move the market depending on how those numbers come in. Also, keep in mind we have a couple of Fed speakers today to kind of round out the calendar. On the earnings calendar, we have 30 or so earnings reports. Probably the biggest this morning would be Carr. Carr is expected to report earnings this morning. We'll have to wait and see how that comes in. And then later on today, we get a look at one of the builders. Lennar is expecting to report this afternoon. So everyone, if this is the first time you've seen this information, I wish I could give you better news today, but if this is the first time you've seen this morning market preparation video, I do this as part of my daily preparation. And if you find this useful, please do me a favor and click on that subscribe button on YouTube and the follow me button on Facebook. Click those thumbs up buttons, drop a comment, and always feel free to share this video with any friends or family that you might think could benefit from this information. Everyone, take care. Have an awesome day. Protect yourself, and I will talk to you all very soon, bright and early tomorrow morning. Take care, everyone.